So let me see if I have anything since I left this morning. I don't think I do, actually. I know Steph does, of course. Oh, yeah, just Abigail Spanberger looking like a Bond villain.
And this executive order rescinds executive order number 47.
God, I hate this so bad.
State and local law enforcement should not.
It is going to suck to live here for the next 4 years.
Required to divert their limited resources to enforce federal civil immigration laws. It is a responsibility of federal law enforcement. Virginia state and local law enforcement officers must be able to focus on their core.
Yep. No longer going to cooperate with ICE. Give me a sec. I got to pop up all my chats here and check in on everybody. Okay. The heck is my Safari? There we go. All right, very good. Where's my D-Live people? There you are. YouTube. There you are. Hello, hello. Cool. All right. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. Oh, that's kind of big. I don't know when they announced it, but I saw this headline drop right after his speech in Davos. EU officially suspends trade deal with the US. Guess it didn't go over too well.
There's that saying, Trump was right about everything, and that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
This breakfast conversation, our sixth visit with Betsy Sarcone, dating back to August 20.
Former Biden voter.
23. Her shift beyond dramatic. A DeSantis, then a Haley voter, said she would vote for Joe Biden if Trump won the Republican nomination. But she changed her mind.
I think Biden probably changed me more than Trump. I think watching nothing be done, for 4 years about an open border.
Now she gives Trump an A-, loves the immigration crackdown, just closed a big real estate sale, and thinks the economy is picking up. Sarcone laughed at Trump's 2020 election fraud claims when we first met. Another big change.
I'm starting to question the election of 2020, right?
He lost the election.
Oh, she's going to be 100% convinced here in very short order.
I don't know.
He lost the election in 2020.
The suburbs revolted against Trump in his first midterm, and Democrats are banking on it again. But Republicans don't have to worry about Sarcone. She likes Congressman Nunn and loves that her daughters can use a school choice plan passed.
Oh, Nick Shirley was on Capitol Hill today. Ah, cool. So we'll have some clips from that coming up. House Oversight Committee has officially launched an investigation into U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar. And then we had this one. This is great.
I think it's very, very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris. He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros, and the Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry, and I'm sure the California people won't forget that. And I can tell my message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite while his California citizens are still homeless. Shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Thank you very much.
Let me know if you need any further clarification.
Dang. I mean, shit, Scott. Enjoyed that. His billionaire sugar daddy. Oh, and indeed, they were photographed together. See? I don't know what is wrong with Gavin's knees, but who knows? All right, let's see. Down the pile we go. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Whee! Don't get too dizzy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got quite a bit today. Okay, there's the bottom. Did Milei spoke, huh? Translated into English by AI, directly translated in his own accent. How weird. By Heijen. So that's from 2024. Wow, it was doing that back in 2024. Huh? Let me see this.
Power. 35 years we became the first world power.
Oh, creepy. It even does the mouth.
While when we embraced collectivism, over the past 100 years, we saw how our citizens began to systematically impoverish themselves until they fell to the 140th position in the world. 40 in the world. But before we can have this discussion...
Wow, that's really something. Not bad.
It would be important for us to first look
I bet it's quite a bit more convincing now, 2 years later. Wow. Interesting. All right. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, well, we saw. Governor of California watches from the corner cuck chair as Trump delivers a true masterclass in speeches at Davos. Wonder who he was sitting with. Okay. Here we go. Now this is the 2026 speech by Milei.
For some time now, and for some strange reason, the West began to turn its back on the ideas of liberty. That is why in this same place in 2024, I stated that the West was in danger as a result of having embraced increasing doses of socialism in its most hypocritical form, which is wokeism. In turn, in 2025, I explained the mental parasites sown by the left in humanity. However, 2026 is the year in which I bring you good news. The world has begun to awaken. The best proof of this is what is happening in the Americas with the rebirth of the ideas of liberty. Therefore, the Americas will be the beacon of light that will once again illuminate the entire West, thereby repaying the civilizational debt with expressions of gratitude towards the foundations in Greek philosophy, Roman law, and Judeo-Christian values. We have a better future ahead, but that better future exists only if we return to the roots of the West, which means returning to the ideas of liberty. May God bless the West, may the forces of heaven be with us, and long live freedom, damn it. Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. Bovino, where's he at now? Minnesota still, I imagine. Insane. Someone dumped a bag of chips on him. Like, what? Doritos? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Rep. Anna Polina Luna is filing legislation impeaching Obama appointed activist judge Paul Engelmeyer for obstructing the release of the Epstein files and failing to appoint a special counsel.
You know, if you have someone that is ordering the DOJ to do a second scan of the files, if it's politically motivated, that's impeding an investigation. And I'm tired of judges, if they get involved in investigations in Congress, trying to obstruct. And so I just putting this out there, I'm going to be trying to impeach that judge unless he can basically give a waiver, let the DOJ release the files immediately.
Yeah, and just real quick.
You know, if you have someone...
Okay. Scott Bessent, we saw, it's the same clip again. Okay. Oh yeah, I got alerts about this morning. There's just a federal agent involved shooting in Willowbrook, California after an illegal alien tried ramming his vehicle into them. Yet again, here we are yet again. Man is a violent El Salvadorian illegal alien who rammed law enforcement, and an agent fired defensive shots, of course. Border Patrol officer has been injured. The illegal was not hit, fled on foot, and was then captured.
El Salvador.
That could have ended very differently for them.
He was involved in a human smuggling operation, has 2 prior arrests for inflicting injury on a spouse or cohabitant. An immigration judge issued him a final order of removal back in 2019, Paul. And it goes on to read this. This is a statement provided to us by Tricia McLaughlin from DHS. In a dangerous attempt to evade arrest, this criminal illegal alien weaponized his vehicle and rammed law enforcement. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired defensive shots. The criminal illegal alien was not hit and attempted to flee on foot. He was successfully apprehended by law enforcement. The illegal alien was not injured, but a CBP officer was injured. These dangerous attempts to evade arrest have surged since sanctuary politicians, including Governor Newsom, have encouraged illegal aliens to evade arrests and provided guides advising illegal aliens how to recognize ICE, block entry, and defy arrest. As we well know, our officers are now facing a 3,200 El Salvador.
And number 2, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. Those missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice. All we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay.
What a loser.
Is this
what
land-
an idiot. This fucking guy. All right. Newsom comments on the speech.
Called that a remarkable speech. You were obviously named by President Trump during that speech.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to what he had to say about you?
Don't be rude. None. I think he said something very different last night. I didn't hear new scum. I heard new green scam. But I mean, come on. It was remarkably boring. It was remarkably insignificant. He was never going to invade Greenland. It was never real. So that was always a fade. And so he says, well, we should negotiate. Well, everybody here has been willing to negotiate for a year. So it had fire and fury, signified absolutely nothing. Even by Trump standards, I was rather curious. And there was boorish parts of it, but those were not even that consequential, including name-checking people he likes, people he didn't like. So, I was a little disappointed. It was a little nonplussed.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen. I do want to say the people in this room are amazing. Most of you were in the other room also. And the United States is doing really well, doing like nobody thought was actually possible, certainly not this soon. It's 1 year. It's exactly a year if you think about it. Time flies. It's 25%. It's a long time. But it went very, very fast. We've had tremendous luck. I think it's been reported by even people that aren't lovers of Donald Trump that it's been maybe the best first year for any president. I think in terms of what we've accomplished, it might very well be. But we've accomplished a lot, including ending 8 wars. I have 1 to go. I thought that was going to be one of the easiest ones, and it's turning out to be one of the tougher ones. But you heard me say before, 25, 30,000 people are dying a month. It's ridiculous. And I think we're getting close. Jared's here, and Steve Witkoff is here. And a lot of people that are working on that are here, and they've done a good job. I think it could have gone into a world where if we weren't here, it was out of control. But I think we're going to get it resolved. And I'm doing it to save 30,000 people a month, if you can imagine. Your kid, I mean, take your son leaves home, waves you, proud of him, you're so beautiful, and then 2 weeks later you hear he had his head blown off fighting Ukraine or fighting Russia. It's both of them. The total are averaging 30,000, actually 30,000 young people, generally soldiers, a little bit in towns, but for the most part it's soldiers. Every single month they're dying.
Commenting on the Congo.
We took over a country with a border that was a disaster, where millions of people were coming in. Millions of people were coming in every single week. I mean, literally a week would have millions of people, and and they weren't vetted. Totally open border. You'd have people come in. You could look at them. I don't want to say why define that, because they always discriminate. So I don't discriminate. But you can look at some people and say they're criminals. And we took in tremendous numbers of murderers, drug dealers, mental institution, insane asylum people that were in insane asylum institutions for the mentally ill and dangerous, very dangerous. They dumped them into our country like we were dirt. And we're doing a great job of getting them out. But
like we were dirt.
It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's a nasty business too. But if they were bad someplace else, they're going to be bad here. They killed people in their country, whether it was Venezuela or the Congo or any of the countries where they came. In the Congo, they emptied out their jails into our country. In Venezuela, they did the same thing, and in many other countries, they did the same thing. So when you read all these stories about ICE, you'll understand they're doing a hell of a job, because we can't have those people in our country, and we're getting them out.
Yep. Asked about tariffs here.
But we're doing numbers in terms of people investing in the United States like we've never had before. And I guess it's because of November 5th, the election. But the election gave us a view, and it's a view on tariffs to protect our country, because our country is being plucked like you pluck a chicken.
Plucked
our
like a
country
chicken.
was being plucked, and it wasn't good.
Plucked like a chicken.
And, you know, you can only take so much of it. And we've changed it around very quickly. And we've had, we'll have, Scott, I'd say $600 billion worth of tariff money coming in. And I think we're going to have maybe more than that. By next year, it'll be much more than that. That's not including the countries and companies, because we have countries coming over and building, but we have companies, great companies coming in. Apple is spending $650 billion. I mean, it's so many. One just announced $10 billion. Toyota, met Mr. Toyota in Japan. So what's your name? Toyota. I said, oh, do you own the car company? Yes, 92%. I said, you didn't have to be that specific. But I said, you're rich. Yes, I'm rich.
Yes,
but,
I'm rich.
He just announced he's going to do $10 billion worth of plants.
Yes,
it's amazing
I'm rich.
what's going on. Look, it's amazing. We've never had anything like it or close. Nobody else has either.
Fantastic. That was hilarious. All right. We won in the Supreme Court. What's this on?
You know, we won in the Supreme Court a very important case, merit. Our country was built on merit, and then all of a sudden we got away from that, and people with A averages and high college boards and everything were not able to get into colleges, and people that had C averages and low college boards were getting in. And, you know, it's not fair, but our country is based on merit. The whole concept and the whole system only works on merit. It doesn't work on anything else. You know, we won in the Supreme Court a very important case.
Indeed. Ooh. Meeting with Mark Root.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you, and I thank the media for being here. We've taken long trips, and this was a long one, but it's been working very well. We're having tremendous meetings with heads of state, with people of very big consequence having to do with war and peace, which is why we're here. And I just want to thank the Secretary General for being with us. We have a few things to discuss. It was a meeting I actually look very forward to. He's doing a fantastic job. We've been friends. We lifted GDP from 2% to 5% together. That was done jointly, and it worked out really very well, and we appreciate it, Mark. So we'll be talking about various things. We'll be talking about Greenland. I imagine it may come up in our discussion. And but I think the trip has been amazing so far. It's been amazing. As you know, we're staying, and tomorrow we're doing something else having to do with the Board of Peace. We're getting tremendous acceptance of that. It's going to be great. So we'll see how that all works out, but we're doing that tomorrow.
Meeting with Egyptian President El-Sisi in Davos.
We have a fantastic relationship with Egypt, and the president will call and ask for things, and we always are able to work it out. But the relationship's been very strong right from the beginning, from years ago. So I want to thank you very much. We have a fantastic relationship with Well, thank you very much. They're talking about the dam that's been built in Ethiopia. It's one of the largest dams in the world, the largest dam in Africa, but it's one of the largest dams anywhere in the world. It was financed by the United States.
Water dispute with Ethiopia.
And it basically blocks the Nile River. You know, when I think of Egypt, I think about the Nile more than any other place, in all fairness, but it goes through Ethiopia. And a dam was built, a very big one, very, very big one, massive. And it was something that should have been talked about a long time ago when they were building it or financing it. So I got involved at the end of my first term, and I was going to have a deal. We were going to have pretty close to a deal. Then we had a rigged election, and I left, and of course Biden didn't do anything about it because he didn't know he was alive. And here I come back, and it's become a very dangerous issue, the dam. And I'll see if I can get that back on track. We were all set to make a deal. We're going to do a joint venture of sorts, and it would have been good. I think it would have been good for both. But it's a dangerous thing. They built a dam where somebody's not getting the water that they are supposed to get and that they've gotten for 1 million years, and all of a sudden the water flow is blocked by a very massive dam. I wouldn't be happy about it. And, you know, you have a very strong leader in the president, and I hear you have a strong leader in Ethiopia, too. I don't know him as well as I know you, but he's a strong guy. And I'm going to try bringing the two of you together, see if we can make a deal.
We have committed to being
Board of Peace.
permanent members of the Board of Peace.
Well, we're going to have a lot. We have a lot of great people that want to join. It's going to be the most prestigious board ever formed. The president is a member. We have the major countries, and some need parliamentary approval, but for the most part, everybody wants to be on. I have a little bit of the opposite problem. People want to be on, and we didn't ask them. They want to get on. but we'll look at the country. So we're going to have, I think it's the greatest board ever formed. And we call it the Board of Peace. That's what it is. It's the Board of Peace. And it started on Gaza, and I appreciate what you said on Gaza, because it's true. If we weren't involved, there'd be no peace. It's peace. We have peace in the Middle East now. And you might have Hamas. We have a little flame here and there, but basically that'll be taken out. If they don't get rid of the guns, and they'll be, then they will be very unhappy people. You know, it's gonna have no choice. They will be eliminated. They made a deal to get out. You have Hezbollah in Lebanon. We have to do something there. You know, they're causing a lot of problems, but those are small. We actually have peace in the Middle East, and the president was very instrumental. He really helped us, one of the most. And we've had great help from a number of countries, but Egypt has been great. The president's been great. And we have peace in the Middle East. It's an amazing thing. Nobody thought we'd ever see that. Now, I would say if we didn't bomb the Iran nuclear plant, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 months. You would not have peace in the Middle East. You wouldn't be able to. Nobody would be able to do that. But that's what gave us peace in the Middle East.
On Greenland.
We'll see what happens. The military's not on the table.
The military's not on the table.
I don't think it'll be necessary. I really don't. Okay. I think people are going to use better judgment. They'll use their best judgment, and I don't think that will not be necessary.
Well, they certainly should get behind it, John. In moments from now, President Trump will be meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, a man whom President Trump deeply respects, and they'll be discussing this very important topic to the United States of America. And President Trump is right. Greenland is absolutely essential for America's national security in the Arctic region, and President Trump has a realistic mindset when it comes to the acquisition of Greenland. If the United States doesn't get it, soon enough, China or Russia will. And that's not just a threat to the United States, but especially to Europe. So President Trump is not just looking out for America here, he's looking out for NATO too. And he spoke about that here in Switzerland today. He wants Europe to be strong. He wants NATO to be strong. And NATO would not be strong if not for the United States. So this is a simple ask by the President of the United States. Let's negotiate a good deal to ensure the United States can resume with a peaceful acquisition of Greenland. And he'll be talking with the NATO Secretary General about that in just a few minutes.
Hey, Carol.
Cool. All right.
Well, the president always carefully resumes or looks at all options that are on the table for him as commander-in-chief. But today he did rule out military options and said, we're not going to take Greenland by force, but we are absolutely wholeheartedly committed to acquiring Greenland through a peaceful negotiating process. And so that's what's underway now. And I would just point out one more note. President Trump is not the first American president to float this idea. If you go back to President Truman, he also pursued the idea of acquiring Greenland because it is a good idea, again, for the United States and our national security. But I think the reason that a lot of these European leaders are getting a little shaken up about this is because they know President Trump is a man of his word. And when he sees to something, he wants to accomplish that goal, as we've seen throughout the past year. And he's been talking a lot about that today in front of not just world leaders, but some of the world's most respected business leaders about how America is back. America is not to be messed with. And President Trump can certainly be taken seriously on his word. Just ask Venezuela or Iran. Well, critical minerals have so much to do with America's economic security. Yep. And we know that economic security and prosperity is essential to a strong national security. And so I think the president is right to think about Greenland with respect to critical minerals and economic incentives. But of course, his main focus is on ensuring we can acquire this extremely important territory in the Arctic for America's national security and to prevent a future war. Again, if Russia or China were to to invade Greenland in the future, the United States would be required to defend our NATO allies, and that's something, of course, the United States would do. And so the president is looking at preventing future conflicts, again, not just for the benefit of the United States, but also for our European allies and friends, many of whom the president has been meeting with today and discussing with. And I know they were all very pleased with his speech. I was in the room, John, and it has rave reviews because the president just tells it like it is. And he came here with his America First vision on full display, talking about how the American economy is booming once again through massive deregulation, an energy boom, the president fulfilling his promise to drill, baby, drill. You look at the tax cuts he signed into law, all of these things coming together to put together a really exceptional American economy. And I think he's really inspiring a lot of leaders in Europe to take that same approach. The Green New Scam energy failed policies of Europe and mass migration are failing these great countries. And so I think the president really struck an inspirational tone with all of them today. But of course, that has yet to be seen if they will act accordingly.
Okay. Oversight Committee hearing today. Eli Crane.
Mr. Comer, how many times, Mr. Chairman, how many times did Mr. Epstein go to the White House?
Who did they have on this?
Your recollection, sir?
According to the evidence that we've obtained, it appears he went 17 times during the Clinton presidency.
Is that more times than you've gone to the White House, Chairman?
I've been member of Congress for 9 years, and fairly high up on the pecking order. I've been to the White House, I believe, 9 times in 9 years. So he went to the Clinton White House double the number of times that I've been to the White House in my entire congressional career.
Mr. Chairman, how many times did Mr. Clinton fly on Mr. Epstein's plane?
At least 26 times, according to the flight logs that were subpoenaed from the estate.
Ooh.
Right.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Those were 4 different trips, 4 trips, and every time they regassed the plane, they counted that as another trip. But it was Asia, Africa, and they had to refuel. So every time they stopped to refuel, they counted that as another leg of the trip. There are 4 trips, not 27.
That's almost like I didn't inhale.
Reclaiming my time. That's still enough trips for us to want to be able to ask the Clintons questions about their involvement with Epstein. Is that true, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, like I said, I hope that my Democrat colleagues who all of a sudden have found religion this Congress, and now they want the Epstein files, even though over the last 4 years when they had control of Washington, D.C., you didn't hear a peep about Jeffrey Epstein out of any of them. And so I think it's going to be real telling, how my Democrat colleagues who claim to be all about the victims, how they actually vote on these contempt charges for the Clinton family. And I just think it's interesting, too, that, Mr. Chairman, my understanding is you've been working for the last 4 or 5 months to get the Clintons in here. Is that correct?
5 months, yes, sir.
Did they tell you that they would come in over December 24th and 25th, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
They have implied that they would come in, yes.
Okay, so that just goes to show that they're trying to dodge suggesting dates that they know none of us are in session. I think that's pretty despicable.
Yep.
The other.
That's the Clintons for you.
Today, the House Committee on Oversight.
You're just slamming them and saying Democrats ought to be holding them accountable. They won't, of course, but they should. Finland's President Alexander Stubb now attempting to walk back his statement at the WEF that Europe can defend itself without the United States, claiming it was a misquote.
First is a direct answer to the question of this panel, can Europe defend itself? My answer is unequivocally yes.
Without the Americans?
Without the Americans, I mean...
How?
Well, look...
You said earlier that Europe...
You said it.
...can defend itself without the Americans. If it comes down...
not exact, Mike, so that's not a quote.
Yes, it is.
More or less. More or less.
Let's.
We'll go back to the
let's
transcripts.
stick to the left on this one, yeah?
More or less. More or less.
I love journalists.
If-
Direct answer to the question of this panel: can Europe defend itself? My answer is unequivocally yes.
Without the Americans.
Without the Americans, I mean,
How?
You said it, buddy. Lutnick's. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I played that this morning. It's a good one, but we got more to get to. From behind the massive gate of his estate, folksy coach. Coach Tim. You know, Somali daycare enthusiast, Tim Walz. Yeah. Greets his fans and encourages them to keep doing what they're doing.
Gwen, Gus, and all the friends that come to see Gus.
Retard.
Thank you for coming out.
What?
Nicole, but more importantly, thank you for standing up.
Who would say such a thing?
Thank you for standing up for our neighbors who don't have a fence and don't have people to take them around and don't have lawyers to defend them. And for every single person who... Oh, there's a bull. Oh, here we go. All right. Yeah, that's good. And on behalf of Gwen, I and Gus, it is so nice to see people out here not angry with us. So thank you. But just to say, these are the moments for people to stand up. These are the moments that are not the easy ones, but these are the moments where character comes out. I am receiving notes from around the world. People identifying, and there's a lot of people saying, okay, I was sleeping on Minnesota. And I think what you've done and what our neighbors are going through to see this, and I oftentimes told this story, I served on the China Commission in Congress, ironically enough, as co-chair with Marco Rubio. We used to bring in Chinese political prisoners, and we would ask them, when we speak up and call out your government, is it bad? And they said, well, in the short run, it's bad because they torture us. But if you don't speak up, they will torture us and forget about us. And the idea is right now is we have to be speaking up. We have to call it out. You are doing everything, and our neighbors are doing everything. And I can't stress enough on this. We're winning it because we're doing it with Minnesota grit, Minnesota humor, Minnesota decency. Oftentimes talk about this.
Oh, what a load of bull crap.
Discussing this a lot. I spent a lot of time with John Lewis on nonviolent resistance. The resistance matters. We're not telling people to be silent, but we're not telling people to go out and cause problems. We're going to cause good trouble.
Oh, good trouble, huh? That is the governor of a state. Nuts. Trump's DHS now launching an immigration enforcement operation in Maine targeting Somali migrants for deportation. Good. Goodbye. Get them out. Swalwell says he lied on his candidate statement with his attorney's address because he received thousands of death threats. Oh, I didn't know that was an excuse to just break the law, you know, with impunity. And yeah, obviously a lie. No one is sending you death threats, buddy. They're sending you fart memes. Under pressure from the White House and State Department, USA House, a church acting as the official U.S. pavilion, is now denying entry to California Governor Gavin Newsom to speak with media after Fortune, the official media partner, invited him to speak. Wah, wah. Fafo. And, well, also, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Justice Thomas underscores how the Federal Reserve's removal statute doesn't explicitly require a removal hearing for board members like similar laws do.
Concern for independence, could the removal statute have been written
as others have been written, to require a hearing and review?
So it could have been, Justice Thomas, you know, in the realm of interpreting statutes, could have, should have, would have, right? But I think that you have to give faithful interpretation to what Congress actually did. And I think if you understand the original public meaning of for cause in either 1913 or 1935, I do not think it was as capacious as my friends suggest. I think it probably meant INM plus ineligibility, and in the context of the Fed in particular, it probably picked up Section 244, which prevents a federal governor from also serving as a director and an officer of a bank. So if there were a Fed governor that insisted on being a director of Chase Manhattan, I think that would be removal for cause. And then on the context of the hearing, and I think Justice Kagan already alluded to this, but there are all these statutes about INM that don't mention a hearing, and there are many statutes that talk about cause and don't mention a hearing. Now, it's true that the NLRA, which was passed a month before, did specify a hearing. But I think it would be a mistaken statutory interpretation to make that one express reference to a hearing sort of disable all the other old soil arguments with respect to all the other institutions, where I think there's a very strong old soil argument that whether it's INM or for cause.
Under question from Lisa Cook's attorney effectively argues that a Federal Reserve Board member busted for sympathizing with Hitler or the KKK would not be subject to for cause removal. Oh, get real, dude. Get out of here. It would be so violently rapid. The removal of that, of some, you know, an instance like that, like, get fucking real, man. You kidding? Justices Alito and Gorsuch get Lisa Cook's attorney to concede that the president has ultimate authority to remove Fed board members under existing law. Uh-oh. Kind of got you there. House Oversight passes, excuse me, bipartisan resolutions holding Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress.
The question is now on the amendment in the nature of a substitute to the William J. Clinton contempt report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no.
Okay. On to the House now. The House at large. U.S. Appeals Court has lifted the restrictions on ICE using force against protesters in Minnesota. The fact that they were ever restricted against use of force for people obstructing their operations is lunacy. Yeah, it is. That I didn't even know that was the case. Scumbags. AG Bondi, Minnesota court victory. Excuse me. The liberal judge in Minnesota tried to handcuff ICE agents, same case, who are enforcing the nation's immigration laws and responding to obstructive and violent interference from agitators. The Eighth Circuit just granted an administrative stay halting these restrictions, which were designed to, of course, undermine federal law enforcement. This DOJ will protect federal law enforcement agents from criminals in the streets and activist judges in the courtroom. Vino denied service at a speedway on Portland Avenue. Psychos.
Don't go back here to back.
Do you work here? Do you work here?
Yeah, I do.
You guys kicked him out?
Yeah, I do.
What's your opinion on it? Why'd you kick him out?
Because I wanted to.
Okay.
We don't support ICE, and nobody here does. Neither do I.
And so he's not allowed service here.
Nope. We don't support ICE.
Commander Bavino, is it legal to deny service to federal agents?
If it is, I personally don't care.
I mean, I'm sure it is. Border Patrol. It doesn't mean it's an morally correct thing to do, of course, but legally, I'm sure you can. Border Patrol convoy deployed green gas after protesters blocked their vehicles. Green gas? Is it just like tear gas? Smoke?
Oh, it is gas.
Yeah, tear gas.
Fuck you! The fuck out of my goddamn city!
Did you see that one running? Look at this. What a jackhole. Barron Trump is being credited with saving a woman's life after she was being attacked by her ex-boyfriend in the UK. What? The revelation came from the woman who told a London court that Barron Trump's quick thinking saved her life. According to the report, 22-year-old Matvey Rumyanstev became jealous of his girlfriend's friendship with Barron and started assaulting her. Barron reportedly picked up a FaceTime call to see Rumyanstev allegedly beating his friend. Jumped into action, called UK police at 999 to tell operators that his friend was being assaulted. Jeez. Sneer's book, Current Court, played the audio in court where Trump's youngest child was reportedly heard saying, "I just got a call from a girl I know. She's getting beaten up." Wow. Gave the police the woman's address before saying, "It's really an emergency, please. I got a call from her with a guy beating her up." Just saw a ceiling and I could hear screaming. I could see a guy's head on the phone. And then the camera turns to her crying and getting hit. Wow. Wow. The woman said that the call to Barron was a sign from God as she explained to jurors how Barron would call her. She told jurors he would call me and that she missed a few calls from him before the call, which eventually connected and led to him seeing this and calling the cops. He helped save my life. Wow. Alex Soros confronted at the Davos meeting here.
Hola Alex, ¿me permites hacerte una pregunta? ¿Estás contento de estar aquí en Davos? Somos periodistas, somos de Estados Unidos. ¿Se siente usted feliz promoviendo el socialismo y la agenda woke? ¿Estás feliz? No.
And he's gone.
Por favor, vete.
Promoviendo el comunismo, el socialismo de Nueva York, ¿están contentos con Trump? ¿Quién eres? ¿Acaso estás promoviendo el socialismo? ¿Quién eres?
Oh, they are most definitely promoting the socialismo.
Y promoviendo la inmigración ilegal por todo.
Most definitely. Good golly. Nut jobs.
What's your name, dumbass? What's your name? Why are you fucking doing that? You fucking bitch!
Let's see. Why are they doing this? I wonder. Davos building where President Trump spoke had to be evacuated due to smoke caused by a fire that has since been extinguished. Weird. All right. Now we get to Shirley.
We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a child care. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares, and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Leering Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell leering right on their sign. We go to a daycare.
J.D. Vance, Tim Walz is not some sort of freedom fighter. He's a guy who has enabled fraud and maybe participated in it. Oh, you bet. Oh, yeah. I don't care what Tim Walz says. I care about getting to the bottom of this fraud for the American people. Well, they will. They absolutely will. PSA from DC Police. MPD is observing an increase in robbery suspects targeting headphones. AirPods? People be stealing AirPods? Shit. Like what? Out of your pocket? Pulling them out your ears?
He did.
John Solomon on coming indictments. Ah, yes, that was kind of the big news. Happened very quickly. Very brief little remark from Trump during his speech, but he said something to the effect of people will be paying for their crimes about regarding the 2020 election. They're going to be arrested very soon, I think.
Stick in there, as President Trump is wont to do, that the 2020 election was stolen, and he said, hey, in a couple of days, there's going to be some developments you're going to hear about the prosecution of this. You've got a breaking story that gets to the heart of the deep state that's a blockbuster. Can you take us through that?
Yeah. First, what the president's talking about is some documents that are going to be declassified from ODNI and the Justice Department, and some new indictments coming. So, as I said on your show last week, the machinery's finally ramped up. They're finally staffed, and you're going to start to see a significant wave of indictments. Pam Bondi's in Minneapolis. I think you will see some of the funders of these protests indicted soon for bank and tax criminality. So keep an eye on that. I think they're going to use the tax law like they did with Al Capone to go after these funding groups and say they said they were doing X, but they're doing Y, and that violates their tax status. So keep an eye on Pam Bondi in Minneapolis with Kash Patel. There isn't an accident. They landed on the ground there. It wasn't for optics.
Not just them either.
It was for indictments. And then I think you'll see some stuff on elections. Keep an eye on Tulsi Gabbard. She's been working on some really amazing declassifications that I think will blow all of our minds soon. And I think that's going to be a big moment.
One of the other brief remarks made by Trump was something to the effect of that Ilhan Omar won't be getting away with her crimes for much longer. I think you can probably infer what that means. Happening now, members of MIREC are holding a news conference in front of Mayor Frey's office in Minneapolis. Their demands include the arrest of Officer Jonathan Ross, accountability for all officers, respect for the area where Renee Good was murdered. Oh, these fucking people are sick. Ban on masked agents and arrest of anyone who violates, expansion of ice-free zones, a ban on racial profiling. How about no? DoorDash has delivery robots now. Oh God, watch out.
It's so cute. Okay, open it.
I don't know where.
Yeah. Selma. Oh. Okay, close it.
He's like a little Pac-Man. Whee!
It's fast. Did you see that?
Jeez. Ay, ay, ay. Oversight holds Clintons in contempt of Congress for defying lawful subpoenas. We've seen. Well, there you go. JD Vance will be boots on the ground supporting ICE and Border Patrol operations in Minnesota tomorrow. Yeah, there's a lot coming here. Just wait. It's gonna get fun. California Democrat Rep Dave Min defends the Clintons during a contempt hearing.
And again, while I think that the Clintons should be here, what we're proposing here is a very serious
You just stop there. I think the Clintons should be here.
matter, bringing criminal charges against a former president of the United States. And
for being a dirtbag, breaking the law,
carefully,
sucking.
Chair Comer, for the last hour, and I heard you describe them as delaying, as dragging their feet, negotiating for 5 months. But I never once heard you say they just outright refused to comply with the subpoena. And dragging your feet is not the same as non-compliance.
I mean, they have done that.
It's not the same as contempt. And again,
have you not seen their letter, sir, that they posted?
Well, I think that the Clintons should be here. What
What? What are you talking about? Putin says Russia is ready to contribute $1 billion to President Trump's Board of Peace. Interesting.
I think that we could contribute $1 billion to the Board of Peace from the frozen assets assets frozen by the previous administration, and the remaining funds from the funds frozen in the United States could be used to rebuild territories that suffered during hostilities. Once we sign a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, I think that we could contribute $1 billion.
Okay. Trump just revived this old video, March 2024 video. Let's see.
Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. win elections. 9, entrenched single-party rule has been achieved.
Trump offered comment just a short while ago after announcing apparently a framework for a future deal on Greenland. Apparently they've got the inklings of a deal already hammered out. The concept of a deal.
Mr. President, how did you do the deal? Come and tell us how you did the deal, sir.
It's a good deal, fair deal for everybody. I think it's a very good deal.
Can you give us more details about the deal?
Do the deal?
No, it's a great deal for everybody.
Will there be an Will there be an acquisition?
No, I think they're going to be very happy. It's a great deal for everybody.
How did you do the deal, sir? Could you explain it to us? Could you come and give us a word? The world wants to know how you did the deal, sir.
It'll be explained, but it's a really good deal for everybody.
Do you still plan to acquire Greenland?
Really good.
Is it a win for America?
Are the tariffs off the table completely now, sir? Can the people of the UK rest assured the deal's gone?
Based on the fact that it looks like we have the concept of a deal.
That quick, huh? Snaps his fingers, they jump. When you wield those tariffs like that, I mean. All right, U.S. House just voted to ramp up mineral mining in Minnesota.
Everybody wants to be on it. But
Board piece.
yeah, I have some controversial people on it, but these are people that get the job done. These are people that have tremendous influence. And if I put all babies on the board, it wouldn't be very much. So he was invited. He's accepted. Many people have accepted. I don't know of anybody that hasn't accepted. But it's going to be great. I think the Board of Peace will be the most prestigious board ever, and it's going to get a lot of work done that the United Nations should have done. And we'll work with the United Nations, but the Board of Peace is going to be special. We're going to have peace. It started off with Gaza, the Middle East. We've got peace in the Middle East, tremendous peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was possible. And that happened by taking out the Iran nuclear threat. Without that, it could have never happened. But the board is going to be, I think, really fantastic. And I think it'll be the most prestigious board of any board ever in world history. Thank you very much. Now the deal is going to be put out pretty soon.
Greenland.
It's right now a little bit in progress, but pretty far along. It gets us everything we needed to get.
Will the U.S. still get Greenland? Will the U.S. still get Greenland, sir?
Say that convinced you.
Say it?
What did Mark Rutte say?
Well, he's a great leader. I think he's fantastic. The Secretary General was representing the other side, which is really us too, because, we're a very important member of NATO. I've done a lot for NATO. And it's really nice. I mean, it's a deal that everybody's very happy with. Now the deal is going to be...
Interesting. I don't think we're going to be acquiring Greenland, unfortunately. As fascinating as it would be, sounds like they came to a kind of happy medium. It's how he likes to do things. Go in hard, like way overboard. Hit him with something so far down the field that they're forced to just kind of step back and reconsider what they're willing to settle for, right? He's done it many times over the years.
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland, and it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The market, 600 points, getting back a lot of some of the nervousness we had in the last couple of days. The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
A deal of ownership, a deal...
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people
we're talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to make.
Where does Denmark, did they weigh in on what they want, what they would agree to?
Well, I assume they did because he very much represents, he's a strong leader. Mark, you know Mark Rutte. And he, I assume he's been speaking to them. He's been speaking to all of them.
Are mineral rights involved? Is ownership involved? Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but
the Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts, whether it's
forever.
Forever.
It'll be forever.
For Greenland at this point.
Yeah. Forever.
That's staggering.
It's better than a 99-year.
This is what, 2 hours after.
It's better than the Obama deal with the famous Iran nuclear deal with a 9-year deal. No, this is forever. This is a long term. Well, we have.
Interesting.
He's a strong leader.
Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but
the Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts, whether it's
forever.
Forever.
If there was going to be a war, it was going to be a trade war. Is that fair to say?
I think so. Yeah. I don't see us fighting with Denmark,
NATO.
Fighting with.
You've done so much to try to strengthen NATO. I'm sure you don't want to see the dissolution of something you work.
I'm proud of NATO from the standpoint. Look, I brought them up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They're paying a lot of money. They pay us a lot of money because they buy missiles and they buy a lot of things. I'd say we're down to 3, but we're down to 2, and I probably can tell you we're down to maybe 1 in my mind. But
did I will say this impress you in recent?
Very impressive. Yeah, he's been there
for a while. The betting markets had Boris.
This is on the candidate for the next Fed chair.
Rick is very good. They're all good. You know, all 3 are good. All 3 would be, I think, good. We have a problem with the man that's there now. He's too late. He's always too late, except when it comes to politics for the other side, where he was actually too early. I'd say we're down to 3, but we're down to 2, and I probably can tell you we're down.
They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday, and I told them you can't do that. They canceled it, hopefully permanently.
When we talked about geopolitical concerns today, we also mentioned Iran, and I made the point that I never thought that Greenland, that geopolitical events would include an actual shooting war. So Iran's a different case. It could be tariffs, which you've already announced for Iran. Could be further action than what we've already seen in Iran. Most people think that you probably prevented the loss of I don't know how many lives for some of the protesters.
Thousands, more than that.
Was that the end of the story, though?
Well, they had one thing specifically that really got me. They were going to hang the old-fashioned hanging. They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday. And I told them, you can't do that. If you do that, it's going to be bad. I don't want to go exactly what I said, but nasty. And they canceled it, hopefully permanently.
But those tariffs are still on, including China. Has China responded to
sanctions?
25% for anyone who does business with Iran, and that will go forward.
More on Iran.
One thing specifically that really got me, they were going to hang the old-fashioned hanging. They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday. And I told them, you can't do that. If you do that, it's going to be bad. I don't want to go exactly what I said, but nasty. And they canceled it, hopefully permanently.
But those tariffs are still on, including China. Has China responded to
sanctions?
25% for anyone who does business with Iran, and that will go forward.
Yeah, that's going forward.
That will go forward. There are assets moving into the Gulf, obviously carriers and other things. So a lot of people are wondering whether that's a prelude to further action?
Well, we hope there's not going to be further action, but, you know, they're shooting people indiscriminately in the streets. And they were going to look, this was a big thing for me, they were going to hang 837 mostly young people.
When you did successfully hit Fordo, you got a lot of grief from the Democrats for doing it. Now, the grief is, oh, you promised to do something in Iran. Now they want you to do, or there are at least finger points that you said you were going to help the protesters, and now you're not. So you can't win.
Well, we had, of course you can. I mean, if I came up with the cure to cancer, they'd say, why didn't you do it faster?
If you walked on water, you can't swim.
Yeah, they're sick people. They really are. They are, we call it Trump derangement syndrome.
Should we stay tuned in Iran? I guess that's my question.
I guess. I mean, look, it's a rough place. It's a place that we hit very hard with the nuclear, ending the nuclear. They would have had a nuclear weapon long ago. It's actually already, they would have had a nuclear weapon probably a month after we hit, had we not hit. And we hit them hard, the B-2 bombers. We just ordered 25 additional B-2 bombers. They were unbelievable. Those things they were totally undetectable. They were undetected. And think of it, with no moon, in the dark of night, late in the evening, every single one of those bombs in their giants, every single one of those bombs hit its targets and just obliterated the place. So we're going to find out where they are now about what they're going to do with nuclear. They can't do the nuclear. You know, the one thing I've been strong on, they can't do the nuclear. Now, this attack that we did at the time, which is now a little bit older than what happened in Venezuela recently, which was equally as good, but the attack in Iran, if they do it, it's going to happen again. They've got to stop with the nuclear. You know, they keep experimenting with nuclear, and, you know, at some point they're going to get the idea that they can't do that. They're just not going to be able to do that. Can't let them have it.
Okay.
I'm conservative, but I think I'm common sense. You know, it's like people say, are you a conservative? I say, yeah, but I'm a common sense person. I mean, I do things that aren't necessarily that conservative sometimes. And like men and women's sports, okay? People think it's wonderful. I think it's a horrible thing. I think it's a ridiculous thing. Open borders for everyone so that everybody's prisoners can pour in, where they come in from the Congo, where they come in from all over the world, from Venezuela. So I'm conservative, but I think I'm common sense. You know, it's like people say,
capping, interesting. Repeating his little quip about usury.
Credit card companies are getting 28%, 30%. These people don't know they're paying that.
Right. Is
and
it a
1 year? 1 year cap of 10%. And I love it. I know it's sort of like, it sounds like the mayor of New York maybe came up with that, but people are paying. They can't make it. They can't pay 28. You know, whatever happened to usury? They can't pay 28%. And so I said 1 year, I'd like to see a 1 year cap of 10% with the credit card companies. And they'd understand that. I've had calls from credit card companies, people that are friends of mine, actually. And I treat them good. I respect them greatly, but they make a lot of money. They got to give people a break. 28% interest. You know, people go out, they buy something, and if they're a little bit late, they're paying 28%. They end up filing for bankruptcy. So I would like to see that happen. Yeah. Credit card companies.
It is absolutely outrageous. Now on large institutional buyers of homes.
They were buying up all the homes. People couldn't buy homes. You know, we have these.
Again, many people who were his friends. Yes.
These big companies, these big corporations buying up thousands of homes and renting them or doing whatever they do with them. Some of them are flipping them for a big profit. But it got to be too much, too many. It became, you know, it's good investment. And we're not saying take them away, but we're saying that we don't want that. We want people to be able to buy a home. They were buying up all the homes. People couldn't buy homes. You know, we have these.
Yep. Got time for that to be turned around, damn it. Providence, Rhode Island Mayor Brett Smiley signed an executive order prohibiting the use of city-owned property for any immigration enforcement activities. Oh, here we effing go. Wow. He admits his residents are illegal and needs to protect them from ICE. He says his illegals are afraid to go to work and school. Oh. Maybe they should go home, to their home country where they came from.
Honestly, nobody in the country knows how or why this administration, which is reckless and erratic, picks and chooses its targets.
Let's see. I know it's a long list, but did they come here illegally? Yes? Okay, they gotta fucking go. Bye. That's it. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else.
Closely with my colleagues through the U.S. Conference of Mayors. We've all been talking a lot lately, including with the mayor of Minneapolis. And the honest answer is none of us know who's next, and we don't believe there's any way to know who's next. And so in the absence of that, what I think is most important is that first, the city of Providence do everything it can to protect its residents. Second, that the people of Providence see and understand and hopefully trust that their government, including their police department, is on their side and there for them. And as I mentioned earlier, I expect to sign a few more executive orders this year. This is going to continue to evolve. And we will continue to take whatever steps we think are necessary. And the fear of consequences from the federal government is not a factor at this time, because there are families in Providence who are afraid. They are justified in their fear. There are kids in Providence who are not going to school. There are people in Providence not going to work for fear of enforcement actions like this. And my responsibility is to them, not
Go home. Goodbye. More from Nick Shirley in DC.
Correct.
What makes you think that?
Well, now you're seeing, since I've posted that video, lots of other people have started to go to other locations, for instance, in Ohio or in Maine or in California. They're also seeing the similar fraud take place in other daycares, for instance, in a lot of other locations.
Yeah, I have a particular interest in California, being from that state, and we know that there's been a lot of fraud. There was $32.6 billion that's been confirmed in unemployment insurance fraud. There's 1.2 million fraudulent community college applications. Have you gotten any sense, or have you seen any signs there that sort of are similar to what aroused your suspicions in Minnesota?
Yeah, and fraud in California might be worse than the fraud in Minnesota.
What makes you say that?
Well, $24 billion went missing for homelessness. They've been trying to build this train for years, yet there's hardly anything to prove for that. Fires.
Yeah, those are good points. So you look at let's run through a couple of those, because I mentioned the areas where we have confirmed fraud, but then you also have these areas where you have so much spending, and then we look at what results from that spending, and there's nothing. So $24 billion in homelessness, and yet the homeless population went up. And a state audit found that they couldn't even figure out where the money went or what the outcomes linked to that spending were. Is that something that is kind of a red flag for you?
Yeah, it's a major red flag, and you don't even have to be smart to be able to know that that's a red flag.
Well, unfortunately, our state legislators haven't managed to figure that out, or at least the governor hasn't. So what are you saying about him?
They're not smart. No, but yeah, I mean, it's so obvious, and that's what we saw in Minnesota, is how complicit the government has been in enabling this fraud to happen. Quality Learning Center had over 90 violations, yet they continue to give that daycare $1.9 million.
Oh. Okay.
Correct.
What makes you think that?
Oh, come on.
Well, now you're seeing, since I've posted that video, lots of other people have started to go to other locations, for instance, in Ohio or in Maine or in California.
I think that's just the same clip. Later half of the same clip. A Speedway protester thought it was a good idea to assault a federal agent.
Heads up, heads up!
Oh, man!
Hurry up! No.
Oh.
What do you think, Bovino?
Got him. Oh man, just the whole thing just oh, you deserve that one. Okay. Under the Greenland deal, Denmark would give the United States sovereignty over small pockets of Greenlandic land where the United States could build military bases. Huh. Okay. Officials spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive matters here. Two of the officials who attended the meeting compared it to the UK's bases in Cyprus, which are regarded as British territory. Interesting. Ghislaine Maxwell to testify before a House committee investigating the handling of the Epstein case. Wonder when? February 9th, huh? Despite lawyers saying she'll plead the fifth. Scheduled to sit by virtual deposition February 9th. Okay. Virtual. Alex Soras.
But you know, I don't think that that's the fundamental. I don't think the technology is the fundamental issue in democracy. Democracy is messy. I mean, you know, democracy is about contestation of ideas. It's about plurality. It's about people having different truths. Actually, now,
really,
fundamentally, how society lives together civically in those contestations is obviously quite tricky. But I think that if we play too much on this disinformation card, we're taking the responsibility away from ourselves to actually create a narrative that inspires people to vote and to believe, in democracy and democratic institutions. And on the institutional part, I think that we can talk about institutions as these abstract things, but institutions are also about people. And we just heard this point about untrustworthy people, and we talked about things in the United States like checks and balances, which aren't written anywhere but are customs. And one man, Donald Trump, literally came in and just took that all away.
Get out of here, dude.
What? But when I see this, when I look at this, more globally regarding democracy, I also say to myself, when was this great time that everybody got along so well? And
it was called the 90s. We all lived through it, fucker.
Going so great. I mean, I think I think that we really have to be careful here in this nostalgia for a time past, because a lot of the reactions we're seeing in society are actually reactions to positive things like equality for women. Greater diversity, which come with that.
Spit it the fuck out, dude. Shut up. Jeez. Sorry, but that just gets to me. I can't deal with it. Spit it the fuck out. Trump Greenland deal is said to involve small pockets of land. Wonder exactly what that means. Just big enough for the base, maybe a little more space for the base, and living quarters, small towns. I don't know. Like, how far is this going to go? U.S. Postal Service driver yells at and appears to flip off Border Patrol agents while they're speaking to someone in a Honda Civic. Wow. Was that the postal worker yelling that?
Go home, you fucking loser!
United States Postal Service.
Whoa. Like, you know, there's a number on the back of your vehicle that can identify you, right? Right? Oh, boy. Here's what you need to know about the subpoena issued to the office of Minnesota Mayor Jacob Frey, whatever. Does not call him to testify, but does call the custodian of records for the office of the mayor to testify and produce documents. Extremely significant move here. The information that the subpoena demands to be produced could implicate Mayor Frey in directives given by his office that violate federal law, thus resulting in indictment of the mayor. If indeed that is the case. We'll see. Steve Scalise expanded SAVE Act.
Can you please explain the difference between this new SAVE Act that you're talking about? How is it different from the old one, and why won't Thune bring it to the floor for a vote?
Well, the SAVE Act that we passed over to the Senate strictly deals with making sure that you have to prove your citizenship to vote. We know that there are illegals voting in a number of states. Frankly, many states like California encourage illegals to vote, and that's what the SAVE Act is focused on. Chip Roy put a lot of time into that. But along the way, we also want to make sure that there are other areas of voter fraud that we address, and one of them is requiring picture ID. There are a number of states that actually say you can't require picture ID to vote, and that is a recipe for voter fraud because they also, some of those same states say you can have same-day voter registration. So somebody can literally register and say, I'm Mickey Mouse, and they put that on the registration. They have no idea, of course, saying that they are, because they're not, and yet they're able to legally vote, which means they can steal someone else's vote by fraudulently voting. If you put a picture ID requirement, it actually ensures much better that the sanctity of the vote is intact for all voters. So we're going to be bringing a bill that does both the SAVE Act combined with picture ID, and that's an even stronger measure, and send that to the Senate. And I hope we get that vote on the Senate floor.
Liberal protesters who stormed a church in Minnesota and demanding for the pastor to resign because he supports ICE. Is this, what, again, or?
The last thing that I would say as we conclude is that I want to give a message.
Oh, no, okay, so it's the same group talking about the same, okay, gotcha.
To the parishioners at City's Church. Again, it appears from your conversations that you have with protesters that not all of you were aware that David Easterwood was serving as a pastor, or is serving as a pastor, and is also the director for the ICE field office located at the Whipple building in St. Paul. The last thing that I would say as we conclude is that I want to give a message.
Saw that one. Okay. Trump just wrapped up a hugely successful day at Davos. I think we saw that clip too. Did I get to see any of this? No. Oh, yeah. Scavino on Katie Miller. No, I've not. I've definitely not seen that. Let's skip around a little bit. Yeah, I want to hear, okay, about Butler from Scavino.
Butler, Pennsylvania. And I talk about it. You know, I don't do a lot of interviews, as you know.
I'm not.
Really, I think I've done maybe one or two. Like, we're very
You're very private.
We're very private, but also very public, right? On social media and stuff. Was Butler because it gets very emotional. But when the shots were fired, and I was with Susie Wiles and Stephen Chung and Walt, and he dropped to the stage and got up and lifted the fist, you know, with the fight, being rushed to the car, hopping in an SUV with Susie, 90 miles an hour to the hospital, not knowing, right? He's in the car with agents in front of him. I picked up his hat because his hat was on the ground when he was being put in the SUV. You didn't know what was going on. We didn't know the guy was dead on the rooftop. We didn't know they got him. Yeah. Just shaking, but the hat, like I grabbed the hat, you don't know what's coming next, right? And just pandemonium. And then being in the hospital and in the room with him, with Susie and Walt, Sean Curran, who's the current director of the Secret Service, and very powerful moment, like the picture of him raising the fist, and the other picture of the bullet just flying by. That all started coming out when he was in his hospital room and showing it to him, and it's just wild. He's asking about how other people are doing, which I'll never forget. He's on the phone, with Don Jr. and Ivanka, like family, and talking to them and trying to like lift everybody up around him on the phone and in that hospital room. And I'm like, man, what a patriot, what a fighter. I mean, the trauma from that, like, when you think of it, will always be there, right? Like, it's just a moment you don't forget. You never forget it. And the way he went to the hospital, we left the hospital, we're on the plane, and he's trying to make people laugh. I mean, this is like 8 hours after it happened, and we're going to Bedminster, New Jersey, diverted locations. And they shut down Bedminster. And completely shut down. And it was like Fort Knox. And there were like 6 of us there. It's a moment I'll never forget. And then the convention was coming up. And it was, do we do it or not? Like, he was all in. We are going to the convention. The schedule stays the way. I'm just like, what a badass. What a badass. And as you know, we had the convention. He came out, with the ear covered. And the way he went out and campaigned thereafter, that was the most powerful moment through it all, where I said to myself, I may have even said it to him, I don't even know, you don't remember, but I'm like, you're going to win this election. You're the next president of the United States. Again. And, again. And that wasn't easy. Like, we would go to events and speak in venues. Like, speak to it now because it's past us, but it wasn't, even just being out there with 10,000 people.
It was scary.
You just were on edge. Everything. The balloons dropping at the convention, when people started popping them, I had to leave the arena because you just were like triggered over everything. And it took a few months. While going through that, him fighting each and every day, doing his rallies, doing his speeches, like, it was epic. I mean, absolutely epic. Not many people could do that. A lot of people just give up, say, nope, I'm done. I get emotional from it because his behind the scenes attitude was just like, fight. That what he did that day was the messaging that's held true all his life. It held true the 4 years we were out. It held true the 4 years we were in. It held true when he was the Donald J. Trump, the New York City icon who redefined the city skyline. He's just a fighter and a champion. And
I think it's well known how often he comes to you for advice on just about everything. Can you recall a specific moment where you're like, if only the world knew the man I know, everyone would love him so much more than they do? Because I think you get phone calls all hours of the night still. Decades later.
I do. And, a lot of the social media stuff during the campaign, and even back in the very beginning, the biggest thing was putting out those behind the scenes moments and videos back in 15, 16, even when he was in office, to share with who the guy really, really is. I call him America's greatest host.
That's so true.
Right?
Always.
Because he makes everybody in the room just feel like he's focused on them. No matter if it's the Oval Office, the airplane, the golf course, the restaurant, wherever it is. And those people out there, members of Congress, everybody all around the country that's ever engaged with him knows exactly what I'm speaking about. The entire cabinet knows exactly what I'm speaking about. He makes each and every one feel important. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. He listens and takes input from everybody. And he's been like that his entire life.
He's so entertaining.
And he is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
You've recently transitioned from doing the social media as you described to the head of presidential personnel, which appoints all political appointees across the entire federal government. A lot's been written over the years about President Trump's loyalty tests. And I think to me, there's nothing more indicative of that than hiring Dan Scavino to hire those employees. What's been that like, this new job, and how would you describe it to people who don't really understand what PPO is?
Well, it's been very challenging to take it on because it's still doing other things for him or things I've done with and for him over the years. It's very challenging. I didn't realize how big PPO was. I didn't realize it was in charge of ambassadors, boards, and commissions.
Interesting. Okay, let me skip forward. Let's go through all the assassination stuff. All right. Okay. Favorite White House meme? Yes.
And they make some people's heads explode, and they're over the target when that happens. The other day, what was your favorite?
The one with the eagle.
Mine was the cuffing season. Like, mine's easily cuffing season.
That was really good. That was really good. I have to tell you, the way that we take ownership,
killing it with the memes, dude.
Of things like the sombrero.
Oh, I was going to say they kept getting bigger.
And the sombrero got bigger, and we were terrible people for doing the sombrero.
And then when they did it, like at first people were like, you got to tell them to take this down. And then it's like, we're going to double, triple, and quadruple down on it to the point where like.
I got to tell you, one of my favorite ones, it's priceless, was Maduro dancing, saying, come and get me, come and get me, da, 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 da. And he's dancing, come and get me, come and get me. And then the eagle comes in, and it's Trump, right?
It was an excellent one. It was so good.
Then it shows them coming together.
They had Fortunate Son blasting, I think, in that one.
And I got to tell you, that operation was absolutely incredible. And, you know, the whole team, and, you know, Stephen and Secretary Hegseth and Rubio and the president and General Kane. It's like, I'll tell you what, America, like, I sit in that room before we did the press conference and I just look at these guys. America is in good hands. I got to tell you, America is in good hands from the president down.
How does it feel differently from the first administration to now present day?
Well, you know, the first administration, there were a lot of things going on when, you know, we got in, and it seemed like the investigations kicked in right away. Russia. We heard Russia.
I was going to say, wouldn't you say that the people now, the team that you guys have is so good?
I have to tell you, and I actually went and I saw Secretary Besson today, and I spoke to everybody at the Treasury. And somebody asked me a similar question. And the answer to that was the cabinet that is in place will go down as one of the greatest cabinets of all time.
That I broadly agree with, yeah.
Everybody is on the same team. Everybody works together. You see it for the 2 hours they're all talking around the table, but also then there's the behind the scenes, and where everybody's working together, agency with an agency with everybody's on the same team, and nobody's out to. It's very impressive what is going on in the West Wing, and you know, the leadership with like Susie, and just honestly, the right people in the right places, and everybody.
And the right intentions.
Correct. With love for our country and to serve the American people and the president. It's an incredible team that's been built out, and it's fine.
So since you brought up the cabinet, we're going to go to our next section of Cabinet Confidential.
Easily the most well put together cabinet in quite a long time. I mean, some of them are definitely running into issues, but that's less to do with them and more to do with just bureaucracy. I wish I could talk about more, but had an interesting day yesterday. I can probably say that the frustrations that many of you hold are absolutely held by all the people at the top too. I think, unfortunately, a lot of the frustration results in misplaced blame, and of course, it ends up falling at the feet of the figurehead. Whoever's at the helm of whatever agency is in the middle of whatever current fuck up it is. Often the DOJ. And that's mainly because the DOJ is where the enemy runs the most risk of, if they lose control of that, like they're fucked, right? It's less so the case for just about every other agency out there, but DOJ is like, that's it. So of course you'd have to expect that they're going to gum up the works everywhere there, which they are. U.S. attorneys, most of all. The rules are just not built for correcting the mess that they've made. There's a lot that needs to be done to navigate the madness of the judicial swamp. But people, I can say that people are working on it. Good people and dedicated people that believe what you and I believe. So take heart in that. I think this year is going to be a very good year for everyone. Differences between the first and second admins, okay.
From the first administration to now present day?
Well, the first administration, there were a lot of things going on when, we got in, and it seemed like the investigations kicked in right away. Russia. We heard Russia.
People, I was going to say, wouldn't you say that the people now, the team that you guys have is so good?
I have to tell you, and I actually went and I saw Secretary Besson today, and I spoke to everybody at the Treasury. And somebody asked me a similar question. And the answer to that was...
okay, yeah, we just saw that. All right. Okay, I do favorite song on the president's playlist. All right.
For his Spotify playlist. What's your favorite song on the playlist?
Man, there's so many great songs.
He's playing them for us the other night.
Yeah, they're all over the map too. Mm-hmm. I have to give Lee Greenwood the shout out because, honestly, it's just an iconic song that I've heard thousands and thousands of times. So when he plays it, I love it. When he plays YMCA, you think of him doing the dance up there.
The
Bocelli, it's just mind-boggling. The stuff
Pavarotti.
Pavarotti.
Oh, that's a Pavarotti song, yeah.
Mind-boggling. Well, he's done some of the other too. It's,
What's your go-to hype song?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah, we could probably say it at the same time. You have your phone? I'll call your phone and we could play
My ringer. It's my ringer for him.
What is it?
1, 2, 3.
Enter Sandman.
Nice. That's cool. All right. Let me see. I feel like I missed some stuff in here. Let's roll back a little bit. Did we get all of Mr. Shirley there? I don't think we did. We can probably look up some more clips of that. Yeah, let's check that out.
Mr. Shirley, you're recognized for your opening statement.
Awesome. I'm here today to speak on behalf of all hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens here inside of the United States. I've helped bring to light widespread fraud that's happening inside our nation, and we the people have had enough of our hard-earned money going towards fraudsters as if it's no big deal. As I speak here, I want to ask everyone a question. How much do we trust when we pay our taxes it's going to benefit our nation? People erupted during the Boston Tea Party over just a few percentages as they believed they were being taxed without representation. Nowadays, we have the representation, but do we trust our representatives? My name is Nick Shirley, and I made a 41-minute video that I posted on platforms like X and YouTube. My video received over 100 million views, and it created instant change within our government. As the federal government launched investigations in departments such as Health and Human Services froze over $185 million in child care funding until businesses can prove they are legitimate businesses. I actually became aware of the fraud that was happening in Minnesota in June of 2025 as I was there for a separate video in Minnesota and started reaching out to me, asking me if I was making a video on the fraud. I said, well, what fraud? And this lady, she was a real estate agent, and she says, well, I'm having a hard time selling my properties because people are curious about these assisted livings that are popping up next door to some of the houses that we're buying or the home health care clinics that are popping up, and we don't know who's next to these houses that we're trying to sell. And I said, well, I'm not going to come and make a video if I don't have any proof. So therefore, I left Minnesota, and I continued to look for fraud in the best way I could. And as I was getting my own information, a man by the name of David reached out to me, and he said, hey, I have been investigating this fraud for years now. I have been driving by these child care centers. I've never seen a single child, and I have received information from the state of Minnesota as to how much money these places are receiving. I said, great. Let me come to Minnesota and we'll make this video about potential fraud that was taking place inside of Minnesota. We go to a daycare, and I'm instantly surprised by what we see. We arrived, and it was an industrialized building, and there was 2 daycares registered at that building. And the first thing I noticed is all the windows are blacked out, and there's no footprints in the snow of any children. There's no playgrounds or anything that would make it look like it's a child care. But above me, a sign read, open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But there was nobody there. The doorbell did not even work. And then we continued to go to other daycares, and we noticed the same pattern. No children, blacked out windows, and one daycare, a learning center, spelled Quality Learning Center instead of Quality Learning Center. They had received $1.9 million, yet with that $1.9 million, they could not even spell leering right on their sign. Governor Walz has said he's been fighting fraud in Minnesota since 2019 and said the buck stops with him. However, how long would it take for you to notice $1 million leaving your bank account and not knowing where it's going? That's essentially what had been happening in Minnesota for years as billions of dollars has been misplaced. And meanwhile, while people like Governor Tim Walz call people like me a white supremacist, delusional conspiracy theorist, he actually decided to drop out of re-election because I believe of how deep and extensive this fraud is. Thank you very much. Since my reporting, the HHS department froze over $185 million, and to this day, not a single business has been able to prove proof of legitimacy. How fast would you be proving that you are a legitimate business if you have children to actually feed and to take care of? You'd be sending in that paperwork instantly. I made this video to document the widespread fraud that has been taking place, as I truly believe all fraud is bad. And people like me, my generation, we're sick of seeing tax dollars go towards fraud. We just want to have the same opportunities that our fathers and our grandparents had. And when you see people making millions of dollars by committing fraud, it upsets everybody from all age demographics. And so I hope today we can have a good conversation, and I think we can all agree that fraud is bad and that fraud is fraud. And I wish the best for our country, and I think that's what needs to be happening, is to crack down on all forms of fraud. So thank you for having me, and God bless the USA.
I quite like him. He had a good heart. Okay. Pardon. Woodcoff, Steve Woodcoff.
We've seen, though, Russia continue their attacks, especially on critical infrastructure, most recently energy infrastructure.
Oh, that's this is before Greenland developments played out.
Earlier at this gas station in South Minneapolis, our team was on the scene from MS Now as what ICE observers suspect to be Greg Bavino and his contingent of, as you can see, heavily armed, kitted up federal agents. I don't know what they were doing, but they stopped at this gas station.
Your audio, dudes.
Behind me, perhaps to fuel up, perhaps for a snack. They had been trailed by legions of ICE observers that are stationed all around Minneapolis. And what we have seen, of course, and most notably the use of force, Renee Good, by law, there has been a hold on the ability for these officers to confront these protesters. It is a temporary allowance of the Department of Homeland Security to use force in this, not only in Minneapolis, but in the other operations that we have been witnessing. And this is a mirror situation, Katie, as we have seen all around the country. From Los Angeles to Chicago to Charlotte to the halls of 26 Federal Plaza. Those are Border Patrol agents. And Greg Bavino is, of course, the so-called commander at large of the United States Border Patrol. They have been rolling. He has been rolling through communities just like this. You see their social media crew in that footage right there documenting these protesters that have been following them everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Jack Smith is testifying publicly tomorrow. Something to watch. Ted Lieu just threatened our military again, this time over Greenland. What?
I served active duty in the military for 4 years.
Oh, shut up, Ted.
Additional 21 years in the reserves. I was a JAG. There
Jag
is
off?
absolutely no legal justification whatsoever to use military force against a NATO.
Well, that's good because he said that that's not happening. So
Against Greenland. And if any military member.
What a fucking moron. Ay. Memes? Sure.
I call him Gavin Newsom. When you think about it, he's kind of retarded. People say he's gay because of the way he moves. You know, he's always doing his weird little dance when he talks. But I don't care about that. I just think he's incompetent and retarded. They say he likes to watch. Remember, his wife had sex with Harvey Weinstein. Remember that?
Oh,
she said,
true. Yeah, that happened.
His penis looked like a fish. If you think about it, it was probably a small little fish, like a baby goldfish. Anyway, Gavin was probably sitting on his little cuck chair watching, believe me.
Kind of like he is right now. Oh. Oh, Trump's SBA chief finds 7,000 fake loans worth a total of $430 million in Minnesota alone.
Administrator, fantastic to see you in person. So we hit the numbers. 6,900 borrowers suspended, about, $400 million in alleged fraud. We want to see jail time for these people as well. Is that on the way?
Look, this is in the future. There's handcuffs and jail time coming, because what we saw when we dug into it, it didn't take long when we scratched the surface within 2 days to find $3 million worth of fraud. Then it accumulated up to $430 million, 7,000 fraudulent borrowers. That's in one state. So we're getting to work, taking a deeper dive. We're sending those files over to federal law enforcement for prosecution, and then we're going on to the next state, and we're going to continue to follow through on this, because this is pandemic era fraud that the Biden administration tried to sweep under the rug, and it took money from deserving Main Street businesses. And we know how hard our small businesses work. They make up 99% of all the businesses in all of our states across the country.
Mm-hmm. You're kidding me.
Through the greatest public health crisis that we've faced in 100 years in this country, since the Spanish flu, my responsibility was to keep as many Canadians alive as possible.
By injecting them full of experimental drugs that we know basically nothing about.
And all of the
forcefully
scientists and the medical experts and the researchers, not just in Canada, but around the world, understood that vaccination was going to be the way through this. And therefore, while not forcing anyone
that's funny
to get vaccinated, I chose
hilarious
to make sure that all the incentives and all the protections were there to encourage Canadians to get vaccinated. And that's exactly what they did. We got vaccinated.
Encourage them, but not force them. Sure, you can go without the jab, but you know, you want to have a job, you don't want to eat, you can just live on the street, but you're not being forced.
Vaccinated to a higher level.
You have a choice.
Just about any other of our peer countries. And that's why we had a less deadly pandemic than most other countries. Through
wrong. All right. I think we are. Oh, we are actually at the top of the hour. It is 7 o'clock. All right. Let me pop my shirt off here. There we go. So goes in. Hello.
Hello. Yeah,
How you
we'll
doing?
just lock down your bank accounts and shut
Yeah.
down any GoFundMe. People start
got a
trying to help
choice.
you. Yeah,
You have a choice.
Totally up to you.
Entirely up to you. Yeah, completely.
Know what you're talking about. Cops rounding up protesters that don't want a vaccine. We gave
That's
them
just
a choice.
encouragement. They're just being encouraging.
Right. Oh, you can't work here unless you can't come shop here unless, you know, you got to show us your card before you can get on a plane. Totally a choice.
Ridiculous.
Totally a choice.
Ridiculous. Love it.
Crazy times, brother.
Yep.
Can't
Yeah.
let them forget about it though, for sure. It's just funny how they just try to brush COVID off and want people to move on and forget about it. But COVID is a prime example of, I think, countries seeing how far they can get to stripping people of their rights because it's something they allowed to happen.
Anybody that lived through that madness that has any clue of what the world was like before are never going to forget that.
Yeah,
Ever.
the impact on young people, the speech impediments, the developmental delays that nobody talks about still to this day, like even the mouth rot from people wearing masks for too long.
Mhm.
You know, not getting oxygen. People don't talk about that stuff, and it's like it's impacted the younger generation. To me, we still haven't seen the repercussions of that. I think we get to see some of them with them losing their minds, and how many of them were put on medications that have sent them off the stratosphere. That's why I think we see so many angry people on the streets. You know, God forbid you take away their smartphone or the internet gets turned off. You have got some, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I have seen some like body cam footages of cops where somebody will be getting thrown in jail from some serious crimes. And the only thing out of their mouth is, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Did you get my phone? I need my phone. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts.
Yeah, you're going to prison, brother, probably for 20 years. But I promise you, we got that iPhone 16 right in, the front seat of the cop car. Crazy stuff.
Yep.
But whatever, how they're getting treated in jail sometimes too would drive you mad though. iPads and smart TVs, and you're like, well, maybe I should just get arrested.
Yeah, what?
3
Okay,
squares
sign
and a
me up.
roof. Yeah, right. People send you enough money, you download movies on your iPad.
Yep.
Crazy times.
It is nuts.
Well, go get you some rest. I got it from here.
Cool. Sounds good. Have a good show.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.